we bring in a friend who we've known for years and years and years. He's an author, relationship therapist, Dr. R.G. Allen Wilson.
Some expert advice on how we can all talk to them. Joining us now is relationship expert Dr. R.G. Allen Wilson. She's the author of Courageous Conversations Connect. Good morning, R.G.
Doctor, good morning. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning, Janelle. It's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
And as we mentioned, a lot of people just dealing with anxiety during all of this. What are your suggestions?
Some of the things that we need to remember is that this is temporary. This is temporary inconvenience for long-term gain. And as long as we stay healthy, Janelle, then everything else is recoverable.
Talk to your children about what's happening right now. What are the best ways to do that?
There's some do's and don'ts, right? So you want to tell them that you're going to be here. We're going to be okay. Kids want to know that they're secure and they're safe. So predictability, structure, and consistency. You also want to let them know you have a plan. And even if you don't have a plan, tell them that you're working on one. And good morning, everyone. This is yours truly, Dr. R.G. Welcome to the Courageous Conversations Connect space, our quarantine talks. Today is November 18th, 2020. Believe it or not, we are a few days out from Thanksgiving, and we've been rocking and rolling for a really long time. This is believe it or not, our 84th episode. And maybe we're in our 30-something week of doing this quarantine talks with our crew. So good morning, crew. Welcome to our Facebook family. Welcome to our YouTube family. We were having a little technological difficulties with our IG today. So if you know somebody that comes on to Courageous Conversations Connect space on IG, give them a little text, tell them to come on over to the Facebook page at Ask Dr. RG or our YouTube page. And in case you haven't done this, please let people know that we've got content out there. So make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube page. Make sure that you hit that notification button so that you can get more information. We're going to be definitely posting various things around the holidays because we know that we need it. And so type subscribe and the message for Facebook as well. All right. So again, welcome. It's good to see you all. I always miss you all now that we were doing this once a week, time together as our crew, but we also kind of text back and forth through Facebook or some other mechanism just to check in on each other as far as our crew is concerned, which stands for Connecting Relationships for Epic Wins. And so grab your friends, text someone, share this video, tag someone, let them know we are on this platform, and it's about having these not only courageous conversations, but connecting with one another in order to feel better, quite frankly. Lots going on. So that's why we chose the topic for today, COVID and hope for the holidays. COVID and hope for the holidays. So I'm actually going to be talking about this all day. This is going to be my first time. Hey, Megan, good morning. First time talking about this. And then this evening, I'm actually going to be moderating a panel with esteemed Howard University alumni for the Alumni Association. So if you have time at 7 o'clock, go on over to the Facebook page. It's at Ask HUAA, the HUAA, right? The A sign at the HUAA. If you go on over there at 7 o'clock, I'm going to be moderating a panel talking about the happy, wholesome holidays and how do we manage our mental health in the midst of all of this chaos going on with the pandemic. I'm also going to be on ABC in their town hall meeting. That's at the same time, believe it or not. So I've done a little bit of a pre-taped segment for that. And that's also dealing with how do we manage all of the challenges that we're dealing with in the midst of the holidays. That's at ABC. Just going over to the ABC. I'll put the link on my Facebook page so that you all can know to go over there as well. And I think Morgan posted that as well. ABC Philly. So that's going to be live streaming on all the various platforms, and that's going to be at 7 o'clock as well. They're going to have a host of other panelists as well. So A lot of conversation going on about how do we deal with the holidays. Whew, y'all know what we do. First and foremost, we breathe. That's really, really important, right? And so we're going to take a quick break from our sponsors. You all are going to think about who you're breathing for and with. I have a special person that I've been thinking about that I want to breathe. I want all of us to breathe for and with. And we're going to come back and do our breathing exercises, and then we're going to get right into our conversation. Hey, Charlotte, good morning. Good morning, Larissa. Welcome to the show. It's great to see you guys. Great to experience the synergy. We're going to have a great conversation. So stay with us. We will be right back. And good morning again. This is yours truly, Dr. RG here. I am so happy to see you guys. We're going to get into our breathing exercise now. And this is near and dear to me, this work that we do, this breathing work. I want to spend a little bit of time just talking about why our breath is so important. Hey, breathing for my BFF, Charlotte says, awesome. Why is our breath so important? Why is breathing so important? Well, today, I am breathing for Saud Schuler. I don't know if you all know her, but she is the owner and proprietor of Country Cooking. And she does a whole lot of work out there for the children. She is hilarious. She has a huge heart. And she just believes in humanity, and I, albeit I learned about her first from my husband Morgan, who had been following her and all of her social media platforms, and she recently did a fundraiser for to raise funds for children around the holidays. And I'd seen her with her mask on at times, but maybe she didn't have it on. I'm not so sure about that. But recently over the weekend, I'd noticed that she had been posting on her IG page that she had gotten the coronavirus. And clearly she is not doing well. I looked at another one of her posts this morning that was posted about 22 hours ago. She was saying that she might have to take the medication Remdesivir, I think it's called. It's the medication that I guess they gave to President Trump. And I do know a friend of mine that was given that medication early on, and she started feeling better right after it. So I hope that she does take that medication. I hope that she will get better. She did not sound good. And what she was asking for in all of these posts, she kept saying, just pray for me, pray for me, pray for me. So I'm hoping that we can both pray for her and breathe for her, because periodically in her post over the last couple of days, you could tell that her breathing was getting more and more labored. And this is what happens with this COVID-19. It affects so many different parts of our bodies, our brains, our cognitive ability, our breathing. Some people get blood clots. Of course, your fever spikes because it is an infection. It impacts your lungs, and some people get pneumonia. Then some people have no symptoms at all. They also say it affects your taste and your sense of smell. And so, we're going to keep prayers up for her and anyone and everyone who's been impacted and affected by COVID-19. Those mental health and medical health workers that are essential workers. We know that the numbers are going up. We know that they are saying that we need to rein things in a little bit because it's getting colder, and this virus tends to function at a higher level when it's cold outside. Maybe that's because people come indoors. It's not so strong on the outside, but on the inside, it is very strong. So why do we breathe? Why do we breathe? We breathe because the truth is that most of us do what we call shallow breathing. The shallow breathing doesn't help to get oxygen into our lungs and into our brains and into our essential organs and through the blood vessels that flow from one organ to the next organ and allow us to function properly. Most of us have very, very shallow breathing, and we need to practice the exercise of breathing, building lung capacity and breathing oxygen into our bodies and carbon dioxide out. That lung capacity to build the strength there and to stretch your lungs can really help you if you came down with this horrible virus, COVID-19. Now, I understand that there are some vaccines that are look pretty possible for us, maybe the end of the year or the beginning of the new year. I was watching TV and I was listening to Jeff Canada talking about the school systems and how the children are really suffering due to just not having the physical connection with their other students and being on Zoom. So I want to breathe for them as well. But the bottom line is that we need to breathe that oxygen in, build our lung capacity, breathe out carbon dioxide. And while we're doing that, we need to also visually think about breathing in hope and love and peace and calm and serenity, breathing in those things and breathing out fear and worry and discontent and frustration and anger and anxiety. We need to breathe out those things and practice that every day. So a little bit behind. Hey, BJ, I see BJ. I see Deborah with the prayers up. I see Larissa saying she's breathing. She's breathing for the young lady. Thank you so much. I know that she would appreciate that. If you guys are on IG, please go on over to her YouTube page and send her a message saying that you're praying and breathing for her. I think it's under country cooking. Breathing for the lady also. Awesome. So fingers on one, middle finger to the thumb, or one hand over the next, or your hands can be to the side. Arch your back, loosen your back and your shoulders. I've been really tense lately. I think I'm just not stretching enough. We also need to stretch a little bit more these days since we're in the screen time all day, every day, if you will. So kind of arch your back, kind of loosen up your shoulders if you can. And relax. Now at the sound of my voice, I'm going to count to 3. We're going to breathe in. We're going to try to hold it for 8 seconds. That builds your lung capacity. I'll let you know by my fingers. And then we're going to breathe out. We're going to do that 5 times. Okay? Let's go. 1, 2, 3. Breathe in. And breathe out. Breathe in through the nose. Hold it. Breathe out through the mouth. Breathe in. Breathe out. It feels good, right? Breathe in. Breathe out. One last time. Make it count, crew. Big breath. Breathe in. And breathe out. Feel the extension of your belly when you're doing that, so that you know that you're breathing out that toxic carbon dioxide and that you're feeling the energy that you're breathing in with the good oxygen. This is really important. So I want everyone to do this on a regular basis. Do this throughout the day. Do this for yourself. Do this for others. Have an imagery that's healthy in terms of thinking through how it is that you want to focus on your intentions for the day. You know, the day can sort of beat us up, and it can be lots of challenges. I was talking to a client last night and I was introducing them. There was a couple and I was introducing them to anger invitations, right? Have you all ever heard about anger invitations? It's kind of like when you wake up, you might be in a good mood, but by the time you get to your workplace, whether it's the other office or whether it's dealing with, going into the office these days or what have you, there's probably been 5 or 10 anger invitations, right, that we've had throughout our morning before we even get to work, right? And anger invitations are simply an invitation to access this anger that we actually have the power to reject. because we don't have to give that experience that much power. We can set our intentions to reject those anger invitations. Just like if somebody was going to send you an invitation to a party, right? You can determine for yourself whether you're going to accept or decline, right? Now that gets us into, this is a great segue for thinking about our topic, which is COVID and hope for the holidays. How many of y'all have gotten invitations to Thanksgiving dinner, right? How many of you all have been in distress over thinking about what you're going to do or why you have to do it differently, or fretting over the fact that this is not going to be the normal Thanksgiving gathering that you would normally have, where you maybe pop over from house to house to house and get your meal based on who's cooking you like, that kind of thing. Well, think about that from the perspective of we have permission, quite frankly, to accept or reject invitations. Not only anger invitations, right? And if you reject them, meaning, this morning we woke up it didn't really make me angry, but we did wake up with a power outage this morning. And so right away, I was sort of figuring out what I had planned for the day and how was that going to impact our show this morning, which was the first thing that we needed to do, Morgan and I. And then we've got a host of clients. I've got a host of clients. Morgan's got, I'm sure, a ton of meetings. And we depend on the electricity in order to function these days. So it's sort of thinking through, like, how is that going to happen if the power is out? That wasn't really an anger invitation for me, but it actually could have been. And think about this from the perspective of sometimes when we do accept those anger invitations, we tend to displace or project our anxiety, our fear, our frustration, our anger, our angst onto sometimes the people that we're closest to. And then sometimes they didn't have to cash the check that they didn't even write. They didn't even do anything. And now they're having to deal with our wrath because we're pissed off about something else. So the breathing is an extension of that. It is a way to calm yourself. It is a way to impact that parasympathetic nervous system, calm it down, recalibrate it. It's a way to decrease those negative hormones that are surging through our bodies that we don't realize, like cortisol and adrenaline, and replace it with other hormones like oxytocin and dopamine and serotonin that help to calm us. There's a lot of science to why it is that we breathe, right? And why it is that we have power and control over accepting or not accepting these invitations to be upset, if you will. There's a lot of chaos going on in the world. There's a lot of confusion going on in the world. There's a lot of inconsistencies going on in the world. But just because the world and people in it are chaotic and confusing and inconsistent doesn't mean that we have to participate, right, in that game. We can set our intentions through breathing in the morning, and we can use that as an anchor to help us traverse through the day with a calm spirit. Y'all remember the 5 M's, right? You bookend your day also with the 5 M's: mindfulness, meditation, movement. You got to move the body. People are struggling with stressors that are holding up residence in their bodies, just like this virus is looking for a host, the coronavirus. Well, stress looks for a host too, and it holds up residence in our body. And so stretching and moving can help to move the body in ways that can be healing. Mindfulness, meditation, movement, what we're doing now, meaningful engagement, right? And then music. Booking your day with those, along with the breathing, that kind of helps you to deal with what we have to deal with, as we move forward with the next week or so. All right. So hope for the holidays and COVID-19. I want to hear from you all. What are you doing for Thanksgiving? This is kind of a PSA, right? This show, and we can share the love in our crew by letting other people know what we're doing. So I want to know, what are you doing to encourage to have your SSR? Remember that language from years ago, it feels like years ago, from a couple months ago. How are you incorporating your SSR, right? Your safety plan, your self-care plan, and your relational care plan. And who are you spending Thanksgiving with in a safe way. Remember the reframe of that, right? That we're not stuck at home, but we're safe at home, right? And it's all about our mindset, resetting our mindset so that we don't kind of give energy to that stinking thinking that says, oh, this is going to be horrible because we're not doing it the way we always did it. Well, I think this is a wonderful opportunity for us to figure out how creative and innovative we actually can be. I was on Pinterest the other day, and I actually was looking at these wonderful table settings of Thanksgiving table settings outside. So for those people who have a nice little space in front of their house or on the side or in the back, maybe you can have Thanksgiving dinner outside and get some heaters. If you don't have that opportunity to do that, then perhaps you stay within your pod to be safe, and you use this Zoom mechanism or this social media mechanism to share the love with your loved ones who may be across the country or may be down the street, but you're still going to try to be safe. What are you doing? Loreza says, or it's Siggy. I'm not sure. This is somebody from Guatemala, CA. Good morning. And I'm sure I'm not pronouncing your name correctly, so please give me the hyphenated version, but it looks like Miss Perez is on, so welcome. Dr. Gail Logan is on, welcome. Jen is on. Good morning, Jen. Good day. Love you. And then, sorry, I'm truly loving my job, because that's what Jen says. Awesome. So, guys, tell me, in terms of Thanksgiving, what is your plan? What is your safety plan? What is your self-care plan? And what is your relational care plan? We call it the SSR. And how are you doing that? How are you implementing that plan for the holidays? This is about hope for the holidays. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't say that this holiday is going to be unprecedented, right? Because many people are dealing with job loss. Many people are dealing with grief like they've never dealt with before. We call it cumulative grief, meaning that you might be dealing with a job loss. You may be dealing with the death of a loved one. You may be dealing with a relationship loss. So that's accumulation of grief. And grief is just simply that we are the containers of the grief based on the loss. And so we have to find ways to experience a level of bereavement, the expression of that loss. So during this particular time, I also think that part of our having hope for the holidays is acknowledging in some ways how tough it is, and acknowledging how perhaps we might not want to be here in this moment, but that we've actually not just survived, but maybe we can be on our way to thriving. So just acknowledging the challenges can be helpful and hopeful. Remember, we say love, light, truth, and accountability equals hope and freedom. Barbara says, dinner on the patio, Florida is warm. Dinner on the patio, the weather is warm. Awesome, in Florida. Thank you for sharing that. So for those persons, everybody's not in Philly, right? For those persons who are in places and spaces where it's warmer, by all means, have your dinner outside, where this virus is not very strong, quite frankly. Lorette says she's staying home, cooking a smaller Thanksgiving dinner. Love your idea of eating outside in my gazebo with heaters. Yes. Isn't that exciting? And here's the thing. If you guys are, if you are familiar with Pinterest, I would strongly recommend that you go on over to Pinterest and look up Thanksgiving table setting ideas outside. If you're planning on doing it on your gazebo, in your gazebo, or on your deck, or on your patio, or your front porch, or if you just have a little patch of land or a larger patch of land, think about all the fun and cool ways that you can actually still be safe and do it outdoors, where the virus is certainly not as strong. And if you choose to do it indoors, then find ways to be as safe as you possibly can. Cool mask that you can wear. By the way, just so you all know, when I actually go over to my dad's house, and he's 85, he'll be 85 in December 8th, 2020, my dad will be 85 years young. And so I do know that at 85 years young, he has some pre-existing conditions and his immune system could certainly be compromised. I'm not 20, right? I wish I was, but I'm not. So if I got sick, then I might be compromised as well. And so the goal here, as I said early in this process together back in March, if we stay healthy, then everything else is recoverable. So when I do go over to my father's house, I very rarely take off my masks. Only if he's sleeping upstairs and I'm downstairs doing something, I might take it off for a moment. I'm working on the computer or something. But by and large, I may be there for 4 or 5 hours and I keep my mask on the entire time. It is doable. This is what we call temporary inconvenience for long-term gain. So think about that from the perspective of what's your temporary inconvenience? What's your temporary, how do you see this as a gain or a win, even in the midst of you being slightly inconvenienced? So we wear our mask in the inside. Maybe it's hard to breathe a little bit. Get a really more comfortable mask then, but do it for your family. Do it for yourself. And if the temporary inconvenience is that you won't be spending Thanksgiving dinner with your loved ones this year, how about we imagine and envision what this amazing Thanksgiving is going to be next year, right? All right. And then also, IG's on? Okay. Hey, IG. I'm glad Morgan got you together. And so welcome to the Courageous Conversations Connect space. I knew that, we were having some technological difficulties with that, but welcome to the show. I was sitting here, we were in the crew talking about what we need to do to keep ourselves safe in the midst of this pandemic and how we need to manage our own anxiety around Thanksgiving and the upcoming holidays, whether it's Hanukkah, whether it's Christmas, whatever it is that you are celebrating. Guess what? Here's a news flash. The celebration can continue. Just because it's different than it looked last year doesn't mean that you can't continue the celebration. Now, we do have to honor the fact that for some people, the holidays are not so celebratory. Some people are grieving losses. Some people are feeling depressed. Some people in the 5 stages of grief are experiencing shock or denial or, anger or depression or bargaining. They haven't gotten to that acceptance phase. They're still in the midst of being a container trying to figure out how all this happened and what is the meaning of all of this. And I will tell you that what I always think is that while I'm trying to figure it out, God has already worked it out. That's how I feel. And so even in the midst of this COVID-19 virus, this coronavirus, even in the midst of what I would consider to be people being super spreaders of COVID-19 or super spreaders of systemic racism and hatred, love trumps hate. And we can celebrate the fact that we are still here. We still have breath in our bodies. There are some people like the young lady that I mentioned that I wanted everybody to pray for and breathe for, Saud Schuler. There are some people that are struggling with breathing, especially if they've come down with this COVID-19, this coronavirus. And so therefore, if we have breath in our bodies, we have our right minds, as the seniors used to say at my church home, Enon Tabernacle Baptist Church. If we're in our right minds, if we have movement in our limbs, many are not so blessed. So we have a whole lot to be thankful and grateful for. And just because it doesn't look like it used to, guess what? The gift that we can be grateful for this holiday season is the gift of life. Because if we're here, then there must be a reason for it. There must be a purpose for it. We must be designed to be here in this period of time to connect with each other and to help someone else. There's a couple other people. Larissa says, staying home, right? And then Barbara says, my mom is 78. When I go to her home, I wear my mask the entire visit. Excellent, Barbara. Absolutely. This is what we have to do. Again, temporary inconvenience for long-term gain, right? And so here's some other things that I think could be really helpful when we're thinking about COVID, right? And hope for the holidays. When we're dealing with isolation, because there's some people that are living alone. and or they're in a nursing home, or they have gone in the hospital and you can't go visit with them. How do you deal with not seeing your relatives and celebrating? Well, again, seeing the holiday as a temporary inconvenience, how we're dealing with it for long-term gain, but also thinking about the negative side versus the positive side. That may help you, because the alternative is, I think, far worse than our reality in the present. So if we're fretting the fact that we have to keep our social distance and we have to wash our hands and we have to wear our masks and we sometimes have to be in our little pods and it's going to look different, well, the alternative is not so good. That we might get infected and get very ill, or infect somebody else and they get very ill. And so if we have to manage ourselves and our own anxiety and our fears, let's do that. Also acknowledge our emotions around this new norm. I think that's really, really key. Whatever emotions you're feeling, IG family, Facebook family, YouTube family, it's okay to feel. What we know, here's these 5 words that you've heard from me before: heal, feel, reveal, deal, okay? And then, heal, feel, reveal what's real, and then deal, okay? It's a play on words, but it in essence means that in order to heal, we have to feel. But we cannot feel what we don't reveal. Once we reveal what's real, not the fake stuff, what's real inside of us, or what's real based on what's happening, then we can actually start dealing with it. But too often, which is interesting to me, y'all tell me if it's interesting to you, but there's a whole lot of people that don't want to wear these cloth masks in the midst of a pandemic, dealing with the biggest public health crisis that we've had in over 100 years. Yet the same people have been wearing these invisible masks everywhere they go for years, right? We've talked about that before. You know how people put on their happy face and they say too blessed to be stressed, or, they act like everything's okay when it's not. So we're accustomed to wearing these invisible masks. How about we put on some real masks and then also deal with our emotions? It's okay. It really is. Sometimes we need to explore what it is that's causing us to feel the way we're feeling, and start externalizing it so we don't internalize it. You can journal, you can listen to music, you can talk to a friend, you can have a confidant, but deal with those emotions and feelings. When we come back, we're going to talk about how do we find ways to decrease our isolation and then move to a healthier space mentally and relationally in the midst of COVID and in the midst of these unprecedented holidays. So stay with us. We're going to take a quick break from our sponsors. We'll be right back. And this is Dr. RG here again. Welcome to the Courageous Conversations Connect Space, our quarantine talks, where we meet every Wednesday at 10 a.m. If you haven't yet done that, please go on over to our YouTube page, Ask Dr. RG, AskDrArgie. Subscribe to our YouTube page, hit that notification bell so that you'll get notifications of all of our content out there. We're doing some really, really great things. And again, this is our crew. We connect every Wednesday here, and then other times I'm posting various things. And quite frankly, if you like this subject matter and you feel like you could use more of it, or if you think somebody else could use this, share this video. Share this with other people on your platforms. We'd like to enhance, and we need you to enhance our numbers so that more people become a part of our crew, connecting relationships for epic wins. I think that this has been a wonderful space for us to speak truth to power. It's been a wonderful space for us to share our light and illuminate. It's been a wonderful space for us to laugh and cry and talk and share and whatever it is that we're feeling. Because like I was saying before the break, we have to learn how to externalize our emotions in a way that helps us. Today, we're talking about COVID and hope for the holidays. How do we have hope for the holidays when sometimes we're depressed? I can tell you for sure, and you all share with me if you have your stories, we want to hear them. Has there been a time where you were depressed around the holidays? You all know my story. You all know that my mom, who I love dearly, Queen Elizabeth, passed away after a 3-year battle with lung cancer. And she passed away on November 28th, 2014, a day after Thanksgiving. It was a beautiful Thanksgiving, and my mother loved Thanksgiving. And she spent it with her children and her grandchildren and her husband and her siblings, and we had a great time. And then 30 days later, I got married to the love of my life on December 28th, 2014. So that was the highest and the lowest point of my life in a span of 30 days. And it dumped me out in 2015, pretty depressed. And actually, every single holiday after that for a while, I just wanted to close my eyes and for the holiday to be over, right? And then I could get on with my life. And it was challenging because, quite frankly, other people wanted to hear what I had to say around the holidays, and my older family members wanted to hear from me. And I would try to put on a happy face so that they wouldn't be so sad, because I was like, if I call them crying, then that's going to upset them. And so it was very, very challenging. And so I do know that the holidays are not always the best for everyone. But I also recognize that if we trust in our faith, right, and we, appeal to our resources and our source, that we can grow through the holidays in a healthy way. Darlene says, my mom is 91 and is trying to catch this clearance at Lord and Taylor. So far, I have not been able to discourage her. Okay. Well, tell your mom, we call her mom, tell her to be safe. One of my favorite places is Lord and Taylor as well, but I'm not sure if I'm going to Lord and Taylor, and probably they're shutting things down soon as well. So best way to shop these days is, I think, online. Jen says for Thanksgiving, she will be plain and simply cooking with her mother. And it'll just be mom and dad, and COVID is real, y'all. So stay safe. Awesome. So Jen has her pod with her mom and dad. They'll be cooking. Here's what's really interesting and cool. This is an opportunity for us to go deeper in the relationships that we have, not wider, right? Too often in our culture, we want to go wide. We want to have hundreds of thousands of friends. By the way, nobody really does have hundreds and thousands of friends, right? It's a farce, even though we're on Facebook and you're getting more and more friends that way. Really, if you have intimate relationships and you go deeper into those relationships and you find out why people are in the relationships that they're in, if you have good, courageous conversations, quite frankly, asking people deeper questions, it forges a bond, a friendship, a deeper mother-daughter, father-son, sibling relationship, and we can really capitalize on those relationships. Darlene said the wedding was amazing. I'm so happy for you both. Oh, thank you, Darlene. I appreciate that. Darlene, I think she's talking about my nephew's wedding. And I haven't even posted pictures. I plan on the holiday to post some pictures from the past when we had a socially distant wedding for my nephew, and it was absolutely beautiful. It was a great day. And my other nephew, our family are moving along, is just recently gotten engaged too. So a lot of wonderful things. And that's the thing that I actually would encourage people to do as we think about how we deal with hope in the midst of hope for the holidays in the midst of COVID-19. And so, BJ said, I remember your wedding. Oh, talking about our wedding. That's what Darlene was talking about too. BJ was there for the wedding as well. Thank you so much. Yes, it was a beautiful December day. I couldn't believe that the weather was gorgeous. We actually text people and just said, if you want to come to a wedding, then come on, because we had not had enough planning. So the context is that we had actually, for you, those of you who don't know, the wedding was really planned for in May of 2015, but we moved the wedding up so that we would hope that my mom was going to be able to participate. She was so happy for myself and for Morgan. And unfortunately, God knew best, and he decided to take her prior to the wedding. That's how we ended up with the wedding date in the winter. But then the sun shined on us, and it was absolutely a beautiful day. And one day we will have a big party. We never had a big party. We had a little reception at our house, but one day we'll have a big party. But it was absolutely a beautiful day. And the truth is that my mother did make it to the wedding. She had the best seat in the house. And I am so appreciative that I have an angel that is looking down on me. And some of our friends and family were just so happy to be there with us to celebrate our union together. And believe it or not, come December 28th, 2020, yes, it will be our 6-year anniversary. Oh, babe, today is November 18th, 2020, this is our first anniversary, because this is the day that we actually went on our first.
Yes, today is our first date anniversary. Can you hear me? I can't hear you.
Okay, go ahead.
Take your mic out?
Yeah.
All right, there you go. Yeah, today is our first date anniversary. And, it's November 11th, right? I'm sorry, November 18th. November 18th. That's the day.
Yes. And so, babe, I want to say this, and I'm not going to get weepy, but I would not want to be in this journey with anybody but you. And that doesn't mean that it's perfect. We said at that date, when I looked at you and you were like, you think you can handle this? He was like, I'm a different kind of cat. And I was like, oh, good, because I'm a different kind of chick. And we have been true to form. That again, in the pandemic, things get stressful. Doesn't mean that we don't have our disagreements or our arguments, and sometimes we have challenges just like any other couple. But I wouldn't want to be in the midst of a pandemic with anybody but you. And I'm so grateful that even during the time that I was struggling with depression, right after my mom died and after we got married, I remember looking at you and saying, I know this is not what you signed up for. You're used to the bubbly RG and the fix-it RG and the RG that's going to take care of everybody RG, the rescuer, the Olivia Pope RG. And all I could manage to do was go to work and come back home and go to my room and cry. And you were like, I'm in it to win it, and I'm not going anywhere, and whatever you need, I got you. And, that you just were a godsend. And I can remember saying to my mom, having a conversation and saying, I miss you so much. And why can't you be here to experience, your third daughter, your middle child being married? And I remember and not audible, but like a spiritual connection with my mother saying, that's why Morgan's there, to be with you. I'll be here watching over you, but Morgan will be there for you physically and mentally and emotionally. And I think that I know she was elated and tickled pink that God had brought us together. And so thank you for just being my person.
It is my pleasure, always, every day. I tell people this all the time. When you say for better or for worse, you don't get to determine when the worst comes. It can come the day of, the day after, next month, next week, 20 years from now. So for us, it was actually in the moment during the process where we had some of our worst days. And, it is what it is. And we have so many more years to come. So who knows what life will bring. But, when I said I love you and then I said I wanted to marry you, hey, I signed up for, a lifetime of joy.
Dangerous job.
Listen.
That's what you signed up for.
I wasn't going to go there, but since you went there, Lord have mercy. They said the job was dangerous. I took the job anyway. So it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. But nah, it's just, just what I do. It's what I do. I love you, and I thank God for you. And this day is everybody have anniversaries. I made it very, very poignant to always remember and celebrate our first date anniversary, because that was the day that I believe both our lives changed for the better. And here we are 6 years later. Well, not actually more. No, it's right. 8 years later. 8 years later. 8 years later. So
Yeah.
it's all good.
Awesome.
Love you, babe.
I
We're
love
out. All right. Enough of this sappy stuff.
So sappy. Oh, guess. Oh, Barbara. I wasn't really sure when she said Barbara in Florida. I didn't realize that Barbara is the mother of my new niece, Essence. So you all, I didn't post pictures because I don't like posting pictures when the
That's
couples haven't.
Barbara. That's
Barbara.
we don't. Barb, please forgive us. Please forgive us. You got.
So our family is expanding, right?
Yeah, we got.
Because we have Morgan.
Hey, Barb, yes, 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 yes.
Yeah, so we spent the wonderful wedding of my nephew Kyler, that's my sister Kelly's son, and Quentin, my brother Quentin's son Kyler, just recently got married a month ago or so to this beautiful woman, Essence, and they are expecting to expand their family. And so, we met Barbara on that day, and we just fell in love with her. So, Barbara, thank you for joining the show, and we are excited about Kyler and Essence and your new grandbaby, our new great niece coming forth. And we're just continuing to pray for that. And then our family is even expanding more because Kyler's brother, Quentin, just got engaged to Kiri. So I can't believe that these babies that I held in my arms over 20 years ago are now moving on to get married. So this is what life has to offer. And this is what I'm saying to people. Like, don't cancel 2020. Think about all the wonderful things that have happened in the midst of all of this chaos in 2020. And if it's for you that there's been a challenge, just think about the strength and the resilience and the faith that is required in order for you to have endured what you've endured and get to the other side, even if you're in the midst of it, right? And so I thank God for all of you guys as a part of our crew. Connecting relationships for epic wins. Let me see what you guys are saying. So Darlene's laugh out loud. She says, love it. Jen says, this is why I love you both. We love you too, Jen. Deborah says, all. Barbara said again, you all are a beautiful couple. So honored to have met you and glad my baby girl has you all as her aunt and uncle. Shout out to Essence and Kyler, as well as Quentin and Carrie. Deborah says, love you all sharing your love. Thank you so much. Darlene says, all so sweet. Darlene said, tears, happy tears. And Deborah says, Dr. Archie, keep laughing. I love your laugh. My laugh is just so crazy. And I got to tell you, the thing about the laugh is when I laugh, like it's my release because laughter is good. And I spend so much time kind of dealing sometimes with sadness with regards to my clients or trauma or drama, that just to like belt out a crazy laugh is pretty cool for me. So try it sometimes. I'm glad you like it. It's crazy, but it's not going to stop. Awesome testimony, Loretta says. Barbara said it's okay. And Darlene said she's family. Love you both. What a special moment. And then Morgan said, thanks for joining. Such a bittersweet year. Yeah, it is bittersweet, but it's a choice in terms of what we choose to focus on. And if anything, this year has absolutely taught us that life is short and we actually can be the blessing to someone else's life. So we should give people their roses when they're here. The roses are calling up someone and saying, I love you, or sharing a special moment, or affirming other people, finding ways to decrease the isolation as we were talking about. I just went on a wonderful hike with a friend of mine because I'm trying to incorporate something new into the practice called ecotherapy, where we actually do therapy outdoors. And Lauren Kahn she gave me a training last Saturday and it was awesome. It was first time in a while that I reconnected with nature. The trees were beautiful. It was a beautiful Sunday day. Get out there and get some fresh air. Learn a new hobby. Expand your future plans. Get on the internet and think about the places that you're going to travel post-COVID. Enjoy your Zoom creative connections if you are home alone or FaceTime. You all know you can watch movies. They've got a thing where you can actually get online and watch a movie with somebody else in a different house. So it's just like you all are there together. You can share a meal. I would say on Thanksgiving Day, if you can't connect with your loved ones and you do have access to a computer, fix your cocktail, your favorite meal, pull out the pictures, reminisce about your loved ones, even if they've transitioned, but find a way to connect with each other and be creative. We can hold on to some old rituals, but we can also access some new rituals that reminds us that delayed does not mean denied. We're probably never going to go back to the way things used to be. I can assure you that. But that doesn't mean that one, everything that how it used to be was great. And it also doesn't mean that how we design and define our future can't be great as well. Dr. Logan says, I love, yes, your laugh is felt because it's real. Thank you so much, Dr. Gail. Gail, if y'all don't know, Gail was the first person that hired me right out of college. I absolutely knew nothing. So she took a chance on me. And I'm so glad that she did. And we've become friends ever since then. So thank you, Dr. Gail. Logan. Denise says, thank you and your husband for being here for us in these trying times. Well, thank you. So this is, Denise, this is reciprocal, right? This is a relationship that we're building on this platform with our crew, Connecting Relationships for Epic Wins. And so it's not just Morgan and I. Truth be told, you do just as much for us as we are doing for you. Because you give us light and you give us love and you illuminate the space that we're creating for us to be able to have these courageous conversations that sometimes hurt. Sometimes they sting a little bit. Sometimes they don't feel as comfortable. But you all know our brand. Our brand is not necessarily to make you feel comfortable, right? It's to help you to have courageous conversations that connect, even if they're uncomfortable. And the conversation these days, right in through here, the uncomfortable conversation is, what are you going to do for Thanksgiving and the impending next holidays to keep yourself safe? Love, light, truth, and accountability, all of that means hope and freedom. You can have a conversation in love, you can give light, and you can simultaneously say, no, I'm not going to be able to come to your house for Thanksgiving. Or no, we're not celebrating Thanksgiving with multiple people in a house where we could be super spreaders and then regret it because somebody gets really sick or somebody dies. That said, you can also, when I say share love and light, say, I love you. I want to be with you. I want to spend time. Let's find a creative way to spend time. Maybe you go on a hike with some people like we did last week. Everybody's masked up. They meet at a location. It's a beautiful day. The weather has been pretty good, except for the rainy days, which we need the rain. But overall, the days have been pretty warm. So my hope is next week, it'll be 60 something degrees and people can actually spend some time together. This requires that we figure out how do we reset our mindset. And again, remember, we can hold on to our old rituals, but we can also create some new ones. And quite frankly, I would say, if you're struggling, which we all do struggle at some point in time with all that's going on, we can seek a mental health professional. We can seek a spiritual advisor or a spiritual counselor. We can talk to a confidant to express how we're feeling, because the stress that requires us to bear the burden of life circumstances sometimes can be too much. And it can cause all kinds of physiological and psychological and emotional issues if we don't know how to deal with it. So, as I said before, challenge yourself to heal. In order to heal, you have to feel. You can't feel what you don't reveal, so you got to reveal it to someone. And then deal with the real stuff, right? If you're angry, if you're hurt, if you're afraid, if you're sad, deal with the real stuff so that you can get to the other side of your healing. Remember, we can distinguish, and I know everybody wants to do something for the holiday, but let's distinguish our wants from our needs. What you want may be very different than what you need. And during this holiday season, what we need is to stay safe. We need to stay connected, and we can find innovative and creative ways to do that while simultaneously being safe and being alive. So share with your loved ones, This is my advice to you. Share with your loved ones what your plan is for the holidays, right? Whether you need space and time, whether you want to do your own Thanksgiving outside, whether you're just going to take a hike or do something different, share. Think about your plan, your safety care plan, your SSR, your safety care plan, your self-care plan, and your relational care plan, and then share that with your loved ones so nobody's surprised about what your intentions are. Book in your day with mindfulness, meditation, movement, meaningful engagement, and music to help to recenter and calibrate yourself, right? And then get yourself to a place where you actually begin to accept this new norm that we are experiencing by adjusting your mindset, resetting your mindset, by adapting to your new norm, and then acknowledging, quite frankly, how far you've come and appreciating the movement to the other side. Listen, guys, this moves us to a new attitude because we're going to finish strong here. We have to. In our crew, we're going to finish strong. We've got November and December. This is our last quarter, right, of 2020. Let's not focus on resisting everything it's taught us. Let's embrace everything, the good, the bad, the up, the downs, the trials, the tribulations. Let's embrace it all so that we can learn the lessons necessary to finish strong. That way we get ushered into 2021 healthier, stronger, more clear about who we are and whose we are, and then being able to help someone else. As we know, grief is real. All of the things that we have been experiencing have created a lot of grief and a lot of sadness. So if you remember anything from this conversation, remember to give yourself permission to feel. Get some support if you need it. We're here. Other people are here. If you know people that are looking to receive grief therapy, reach out to us, 215-789-6999, or you can reach out to us at contact us at drrgconnects.com. I will tell you, we are busy. So I am filled up. I can't even guarantee that there would be space. However, we're now at a place where we're building a waiting list, if you will, and trying to provide you with additional resources. But we're willing, we're here, we're able, we're trying to support all of the people that come our way as much as possible. And there are other clinicians. I'm not the only clinician in town that's doing this work in the teletherapy space. So there are other people that I've trained that are very, very good. In fact, they're excellent clinicians. All I'm saying is don't suffer in silence. And if Dr. Gail, she's on the line, she's a clinician, a therapist and practitioner. There are people that are here and willing to help. There are 4 things that you can do basically to relieve your anxiety: prayer, pause, personal connection, and then pivot to a higher place. Think about that. Praying first, then pausing to center yourself and be still. Having a personal connection with a higher source, a personal connection with other people, and then pivot. Sometimes the problem that we have is staying so stuck, right? So again, step 4 steps to grief is give yourself permission to feel, get support, be patient with the grieving process, right? It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. It's going to take time, and embrace life. If anything, grief in 2020 has taught us is that we've got to embrace life, the life that we have now. We have breath in our bodies. That means that we have life. We need to embrace it now. And if you know somebody that's grieving and you're not sure what to do, well, give them permission. Be the ministry of presence. If they want to cry, they want to shout, they want to yell, as long as they're not yelling at you, whatever they need to do, they want to pray with you, just be available to them. But also do the research. Find other support systems, whether it's a clergy or a therapist or a spiritual person, and give them the resources so that they can choose to select or tap into those resources when they're ready. And by all means, do not try to rush them if they're dealing with grief during this time, right? And tell them, just get back to normal, just snap out of it, just get over it. Those are not things that you should say to somebody when they're grieving. Those things won't work. They have to be in a process. And if you see that they're stuck, then be available to help them, but don't expect that their process will be like your process. And at the end of the day, all we can do sometimes if somebody is grieving and dealing with loss is be in the ministry of presence. Give them space, just like Morgan did when we were together. He gave me space and he was still present there whenever I needed him. And we all need that at various times. Um, Someone said, thank you for buffering. I'm sorry. Thank you, Morgan, for all your work in self-images of mental health care cafe. She puts that out with a number to that. I'm sorry, guys. James Jones was on. If I was buffering, sometimes after a full hour, then sometimes the connection gets a little weak. So I apologize if it was buffering. Listen, this is our ministry, quite frankly, and it requires that we put energy in and we get energy back. And again, I thank you for just being on this platform and giving us the opportunity to share our hearts with you and create a space of safety for each of us and in this crew. Our crew is Connecting Relationships for Epic Wins. Don't forget, tonight I will be the moderator for a wonderful panel discussion of mental health professionals for my alumni. You see on the back of my hat, Howard University. And so if you want, you can go on to HU, that's right. You can go on to the HUAA at the HUAA. And that is the Howard University Alumni Association, of which one of my very best friends, Charlie Lewis, is the president. So I'm moderating a panel of esteemed mental health professionals, and we're talking about happy, wholesome holidays, how to navigate the holidays in the midst of a pandemic. So I think it's going to be a wonderful hour together at 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. On Facebook. And then also, if you're interested, you certainly can go to ABC, 6abcphilly, I think, .com, and they're having a town hall, and they're talking about COVID and the holidays as well. And I've done some tape clips that they're going to integrate into the discussion as well. The timing didn't work out because, we were doing this other commitment already. So they did pre-tape it. So hopefully I believe that conversation will be great too. And if you're not able to see it in real time, I think it is live streaming. So you will be able to go back to it, and we'll try to post it another time as well. All right, guys, listen. We're going to take a quick break from our sponsors, and then we're going to wrap up with a few Hey guys, so here's what I wanted to say as we wrap up with this Courageous Conversations Connect Space. One, we will see you we will see you the day before Thanksgiving. So we'll have some more tips and we'll talk about that's going on. I definitely want you guys to share. By that time, you're probably in the midst of cooking or whatever. So share your meals and maybe some recipes with us. Next Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. Don't forget to let other people know, because people will be home. So hopefully we'll have a really, really good crew to have the conversation about what people are doing and how they're managing their mental and emotional state in the midst of the holiday. In addition to that, I just want to make sure that you all know that you can reach out to us anytime at 215-789-6999. Share this post. Tag a friend, make sure that other people know that we've been having these conversations and we'd like to elevate the conversation with more people as part of our crew, right? All right, so it's been great. I miss you guys. I love you so much. And if no one told you today, we're telling you, Morgan and I, we love you and there's nothing you can do about it. Have a beautiful day on purpose from our hearts to yours.